Yes.
Here we are.
Yes, man.
Yes, man.
Yes, man.
Hey, man. We're loose. Feel good.
Loose and
Feeling
goosey.
good. We just recorded an hour-long episode that I didn't really want to do, but we did it, and it's okay, where we just, like, got our thoughts about the election out there. We had about 5 false starts. We never do that. We had about 5 false starts starting the episode because I was like, I don't want to talk about politics. And you don't even really want to talk about it. I don't know. We were just
I definitely
like,
don't sound great talking about it.
I don't think anyone really does. I don't think
it brings out some of my worst qualities. I find out I'm being divisive, and then I have to burn my own hypocrisies out, and then it's just like, God.
I find out I've been fucking pronouncing divisive wrong. I don't, Like,
well, if you want to hear us talk about that stuff,
Patreon.com/churchofchill.
Yeah, totally. Really fun episode. No, I think we kept it.
It actually was fun episode.
I think we kept it pretty fun. We try our best.
But it's too radical for YouTube. You can't talk about that kind of stuff as freely in the YouTube algorithm.
You can also get our thoughts on Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah, you can get our thoughts about Tony Hinchcliffe, that whole thing. Yeah, we had a funny episode, but it feels good to do the episodes the other way around. Normally we do the regular episode and then we hop on the Patreon. Now we're going to do it the other way around. And it's cool because I feel like I got something. I'm like, I feel like I purged.
I kept saying, if we get to the politics stuff, we'll do it at the end and then people can not tune out. But I think what we did is we started it there and we just purged it all out. And now we're like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah. We'll talk about much more fun and funny things.
Because despite everything that's going on, you can still have fun and funny moments.
Yes, exactly. I hate that the stakes get raised to the point where people lose their sense of humor and lose their sense of just being a little fucking speck of dust in a goddamn gigantic void. Everything feels important. We're like, no.
Everything is, it's like kind of we're in this back and forth of like everything is important, but just as important as that is important. Like this moment's important. Like, are you breathing? Did you get a deep breath? What are your habits? What are your thoughts? It's important. And also nothing matters at all. It's like, couldn't mean less.
Yes.
As long as we got all that out of the way.
Yeah.
Clear that out.
Yeah. Well, we're in November now. We had the best October ever. We had a great fucking time.
The Mets were in it.
Oh my God, I forgot about it. Yeah, the Mets were in there. They made it to like October 20th or something, just fucking unheard of for like the team that we were watching back in April. We were up in Maine visiting your mom. Literal perfect weather in New York, like 75 degrees.
You're such a good boyfriend. You redid all her decks. You sanded and stained or sealed all her decks. You did like 5 days of hard manual labor, and I appreciate you.
That's okay. That's like the 5
They were like
days.
8-hour days. You were like sanding on your hands and knees, like.
I know. It's crazy. That's crazy work. It's satisfying work. Anything like I'm very good at like throw the headphones in and clean this mess up. Throw the headphones in, fucking get up on the roof,
Yeah.
Listen to a podcast and sand the thing.
Yeah.
Listen to Tom Verlaine's solo discography in complete awe while I stain your mom's deck. Whatever. I'm great at that. I love that.
You like a little project and one where you can see something getting better with every
yeah, and it's so immediate, like something I can do by myself, and it's very immediate because the other my main life force requires a lot of other people, and it requires cooperation, it requires getting out there and equipment and things and layers, and it's not immediate always, and so I love balancing my life with that kind of work, and it was good. We had a good trip up to your mom's house. Maine is beautiful. I think it's my favorite state.
They seem to know how to do it. They seem to be ahead of the times in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, it says on their license plate, it says vacation land.
Or it says, Maine, the way life is supposed to be. I don't know. That's like that's one of their slogans.
That's cool. That's pretty good.
I don't know if it's a license plate slogan, but I'm surprised Florida's not vacation land.
Well, Maine got to it first.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I wanted live free or die trying or whatever it is.
I think that's I think that's a 50 Cent song. No, that's
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire has
Live
something
free or
like
die.
that. Yeah. I don't even know what New York's is.
The Empire State.
It's just called New York's is just die trying.
We'll eat you up and spit you out.
Yeah. So speaking of getting eaten up and spitting out, like, I don't know, look, I'm serious when I say this. I don't know where this idea came from or if either one of us came up with it, but we decided to do a mushroom trip in our local cemetery.
Well, I did have the moment a couple times, and I'm sure you did too, of like, I can't believe Sean agreed to do this with me.
I kept saying that to myself too, to the point. Well, I'll get there, but basically, I posted on our Discord, which you can access through patreon.com/churchofchill. I posted on our Discord like, "Hey, Cass, here's what we should listen to on our overnight cemetery trip on Halloween," and then you were like, "It's actually going to be a really nice night on Halloween," and then it's just like one thing led to another, and I'm like, did I come up with this? Because it doesn't feel I came up with this.
No, we have there's a beautiful old cemetery very close to where we live, and
we're talking fucking people that were born in the 1700s named like Ichabod and shit. Like you like a grave that just says daughter. You know, like you're like, what is this?
Well, we walk through there all the time. We run through there,
yeah,
and we, as psychedelic people, we're like always like
scouting out a new place to trip.
And we just were like, this would be a cool place to trip. And it's something, I don't know who said it first, but I think we both are just like, had said it to each other, but almost kind of
a while ago.
Kind of like a dare almost.
Yeah. You're like, could we handle it?
You're also, it's like a public space, even though no one goes into it. You're just like.
Mushrooms are already, for me, like it's a challenge.
Right.
But like we're already like, we're talking about a challenge, and I like a challenge. That's fine, but it's not like if you were like, let's take acid up there, I'd be like, the party. That's the party. The mushrooms are the challenge. I'm like, okay, I like a challenge. Let's do the challenge. Let's do the challenge in a challenging place potentially.
Right.
I think it turned out that wasn't the case.
I will say that was my least challenging psychedelic trip I've probably ever had.
Wow. Well. And
not for lack of being potent.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Holy shit. We had the most potent mushrooms. What are they?
Penis envy.
Penis envy. That's like, everyone knows this now, but penis envy are like, feel a little bit stronger than like other strains like Golden Teacher and like.
Yeah, you need lesson to go further. I don't know, but it was gentle. It was kind. It was.
They're kind but intense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't need as much as you would need.
There's an intensity to it, but and maybe the kindness came in the dose that you chose. What did we split, like 4.5 grams?
Yeah.
Chop them up, squeeze a couple lemons on them, let that steep for like 15 minutes. Then just put some water and ginger in there.
Boiling water.
Boiling water with ginger. Let that steep for like another 15 minutes. Strain. And we split that. And we both probably drank like 4 ounces of some concoction. So like basically we went up to the cemetery, found these 2 old ass trees, set up our hammock, put out a little blanket. We had a Grateful Dead show lined up, the Halloween show from 1971, which is a banger. Primal Dead, just like very sweet spot for the Dead, I think, that year. Late that year too.
Prime Dead?
Primal. Still in the primal, like where you listen and there's a, there's eras to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's just like a raw fucking, like the psychedelics were still a very big influence. So we had that show lined up, but really no frills, just like, cool, we got the hammock, we got a blanket.
Well, we walked
water.
up with like a backpack each.
Yeah.
So we kept it simple.
Yeah, and we timed it because we had the most spectacular sunset the day before, and we were like, the weather tomorrow is gonna be the same. We have to do this based on like this sunset we were getting the day before. We're like, we have to do it, and we should time it for where we're tripping during the sunset. So we did that.
Yeah, we nailed it. I think it's good to
scout
your location if you're gonna do an outdoor location.
Yeah, especially in a public place. Like we didn't scout it enough considering the amount of time we were there and how settled in we got. And my main concern was, I was like, is anyone going to see us? You know, I don't care if we see people, but like, is anyone going to notice us over here or bother us for any reason? And the spot we chose, I was like, I don't think so. Literally, we drank the mushrooms down, and I'm like walking around barefoot. Cass is just like squatting, feeling the ground, and some guy comes walking up to us. I'm like, what the fuck? I came over to you. I was like, Cass, there's about to be some guy walking by, and you're like, what? I'm like,
hey.
We're like, hi, and it's just like, it makes no sense to this. I don't know if this guy knew what we were doing, but it's definitely weird to see people treating a cemetery like a park. In other countries, apparently they do that. And
yeah, it's normal.
I think they should do it more here, but
I think, you know, there's some people who will be like, ooh, cemeteries are spooky or scary or make me think of death, and I don't like it. But I feel like, I don't know.
Death is peace. Those people are at peace. That's their final resting place.
I really felt that, and I really felt that Halloween, so many Halloweens I can think of being gifted like this beautiful night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, it's like the veil is thin.
And
these peaceful motherfuckers are sending us this beautiful night to enjoy. That's how I think about it.
Well, we started the ceremony with like praying to them and just be like, yo, look, we're up here. We honor y'all. You know, y'all have, to us, it seems like y'all have been dead for a long time. To them, it probably seems like a blink of a fucking eye. But we're like, hey, we're here. We're celebrating tonight. We're celebrating y'all's lives. We're celebrating the lives. We come in peace. You're people that shared this land with us. We never got to meet because we just shared it at different times, little different slivers of time. And you were here, though. You know, you made it so we could inhabit this land more. And you're all here. And we're here to bring some liveliness and celebration to life. We're here. This is about living. And we honor the dead. But tonight's about living. And then I just died 1,000 fucking times.
Tonight's about living.
Cass, leave me alone. I went full of fucking totally into my final resting stage. But yeah, I mean, those fuckers, they affect me so much different than you. You know, people that have been listening to us forever have heard us talk about that, but it is always kind of a sight to behold that, like, we take the same dose of mushrooms, and you're probably like 30 pounds less than me. We take the same dose, and you're just like beautiful, like you said, like it's empowering for you.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it feels like, like fucking, like how we are on roller coasters. How you're just like, woohoo! And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, I love this, but fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it was. And it's how it always is. It's how I've gotten better at taking mushrooms, but they definitely scare me more than any psychedelic.
We have always said there's a little bit of a dominatrix energy about it, or like where you have to submit. And I think it was interesting to be this deep and taking psychedelics, and for me to go. At first, I was a little nervous that they weren't going to work. I was like, I don't know how old these were. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we steeped it long enough. And I was like, I feel... And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay.
Oh, my God.
And, yeah, I feel like I dipped in between reality and the psychedelic realm, like, in a way that was more seamless and smooth than it ever has been. And just kind of like, oh yeah, this place, it's familiar because it's different every time, but there's a familiarity of the realm or something, or just even being a shifted consciousness that makes it not scary anymore. I thought about like how much I've grown up, you know, and how I've like genuinely lost a lot of the anxieties. Like We've tripped with a lot of people who it's like one of their earlier times tripping or something, or first time. And to really see the questions that come up and the things you have to navigate, like, because you're meeting a force almost. And you're like, is it a benevolent force? Is it a maniacal force? Is it everything?
It's you.
I know,
you're
but
looking in a mirror for the first time. So we've, like you said, we've obviously been through that ourselves. But then a lot of times we've tripped with other people. A lot of them, when you think about this, have been introducing them to it.
Yeah.
And that's very intense, because it's like saying to somebody, hey, I know it seems crazy, but there's this thing called a mirror, and I'm about to show you your own reflection, and you hold it up, and sometimes it's fucking terrifying for people.
Yeah, it definitely has been for me at times.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's a lot.
But I think what you're getting to is like, we've tripped so many times that you get to a place where you're like, fucking, I live in a house of mirrors. That's all this world is. That's all this universe is.
You can't leave the mirror.
You can't leave it. You can't unsee it. Everywhere you turn. And not in a narcissistic way, in actually the extreme opposite. I'm everything.
Just a potent karma kind of way.
Yeah. And that like literally the mushrooms start kicking in, and what I thought was reality that was upheld by my ego starts to go down. And that's not the scary part. Like I can, that's fine. That's just me dying. I'm like, I've died a million times. I can do that. I can let that down. It's everything that comes in after. It's stepping into the house of mirrors fully and being like, Jesus goddamn Christ, this is a lot. It's just a lot of, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of knowledge. It's just, it's a lot. And I kept telling you all night, I'm like, I can't even speak to it. I can't even speak to what I'm doing or what I'm encountering.
We kept being like, are you okay? Like to each other. And we'd be like, yep, totally cool. And then meanwhile we get home and we're like, dude, I was a melted pile of mush. And I don't know, maybe someone else can speak to this, but I feel like ever since I've done ayahuasca, mushrooms are ayahuasca for me. Like it's a very DMT kind of visuals and experience. And
that might have well has been ayahuasca. But, for me, mushrooms are harder than ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is just like, you're going to die. That's what it is. This is the death drug. Experience your death. And mushrooms, I'm like, is it going to be like that? Or what is it going to be this time? Is it going to be a lot or a little? Or
I think you made a decision early on that you were like, I'm not going to be a burden or my problem.
On this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about it, and I was like, Cass has had to spend too much time of her mushroom trips in particular dealing with whatever I'm going through. And I think of in particular when we went to Drone Zone and took mushrooms, and you were having the time of your life, and I was like, I'm cold. I want to go home. I want to be in my bed. I need to not be tripping. And I just thought of that time, and I was like, God, it's so inappropriate to put your bad trip on someone that's having a good trip. So I was like, keep it to yourself, bro. Like, there's nothing you can't deal with. So
I feel a little bad about that.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't want you. I like that you need me. If you don't need me, I feel useless.
No, you should enjoy yourself. Literally, that's what it was about. Because I know how much you love mushrooms and you're empowered by them, and I know how much, no matter what you say or do, I'm going to have to fucking face the music. Yeah. I know I have to. So what am I going to do? Start making it about micro, like, oh, I wish we wouldn't have picked this spot, or like, oh, I need another pair of socks, or like just all these little things.
Or don't take pictures.
Yeah, that was it. That's where it started. That's how it started. I was sitting there and I was like, whoa, these things starting to hit me hard. And you're taking pictures of me. And I was just like, I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it. That'll start this whole thing in the wrong direction. Just don't say anything. And I
lock it up, bro.
I locked it up. I'm getting a little cold. I'm just going to put on this jacket. It's the warmest thing I can see, and I'm like shivering. I think it's because we're talking about these mushrooms. It's this talking about them is the same way that like being on them makes me feel.
This is your jacket from 1996.
Three.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's my New York Knicks starter's jacket. This I wear to school every day.
Pretty cool. Now I wear it.
Yeah, and it's probably worth like $400. Anyway, so we get in the hammock. Like basically that was the first sign of like, because I hadn't even, like you're saying, you're like, I can't believe Sean agreed to this. It didn't even hit me till that moment. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I was caught up with what music are we going to listen to? How are we going to get this stuff up there? What time? What time should we chop them? All the things to build the altar distracted me from what the sacrament was going to do to me.
Yeah.
And it started hitting me in that moment. And I was like, oh, this is what it does to Cass. She takes pictures and has a great time and connects with everything. And I just fold inwards. I'm like that submarine that just like imploded.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm just like.
Well, you'd think that you're the twisted joker who's like, let's go to the cemetery, and you were the twisted.
Was.
You were, but I feel like I'm a little bit the one who's like pushing for us to do some harder things.
Well,
sometimes.
You can handle more mushrooms than me. You can handle your mushrooms a little bit better. Look, we both handle them well, I will say. We're past the point of like a freak out happening.
Knock on wood, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. But if one was going to happen, that was a circumstance. I mean, of like fucking mushrooms hitting me like a freight train, and I'm like sitting in a fucking crazy ass 1800s cemetery. But it was beautiful. And then we both got in the hammock together. And it was good because like we were kind of like scissor sisters, or I don't know. We were just like laying opposite. But like I couldn't tell if I was like touching you, or like we were obviously on top of each other. But like I was able to just ignore all that and literally just become nothing.
Yeah.
Just become nothing.
The chrysalis.
Yes, exactly. The sun went down, and everything in my life just faded away. And I laid there. And it was cool, and I felt like probably 3 hours just passed. I'm like, whoa, that was a crazy fucking mushroom trip. And you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. And I was like, well, the one thing I would say is like, let's head back down to the house. Like, you know, like we did the mushroom trip part of this. Like, let's go back down to the house and like have Halloween with the fam and chill with Katie and like let them get some of these good vibes. And you're so cute. You're so adorable. You were like, okay. We had no business doing anything.
You're like, we'll move slowly. I just lied back and I went like right back into the void or whatever. Yeah, totally. It was just like, yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about your visuals?
I don't even know how to. There's nothing to talk.
Pugs.
Oh, my visuals. Oh, those visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see pug faces and everything now.
Yeah.
They laid into the night too. I was like, we have all these tapestries, and I'm like, the pug faces.
You're like, you don't see pug faces all over that thing? And I'm like, I'm not tripping on that hard.
No, I love our Magic's the pug who we live with, and we try to help take care of, and it's your sister Katie's like
it's her service dog.
Service dog, yeah. And she's the queen, as Caitlin says, and if Magic's happy, I think that's Katie's way of saying I'm happy. Yeah. So we always try to make sure Magic's happy.
Yes.
And sometimes we get frustrated with Katie because she's like, when Magic just had a bath and we're like, it's a beautiful day, we're leaving her outside, and she lets her in.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
And we get frustrated, but we're like, but I have to remember Magic's the queen, and if Magic's whining, Katie wants to let her in. I can't even be mad. You can't even be mad. Anyway, so
basically your life it has a lot of pug considerations in it.
Oh, totally.
Like it's a big part of our life.
Yeah. No, and I think
it's probably the top sacred symbol in our life right now. Is like there's pugs. Everything we have has pugs on it. Yeah. Every outfit Katie has, every T-shirt, her socks, her calendars, like the puzzles we do.
Yeah. No, and it's a mode of communication. I think there's words for it, but a way that she can express herself is Magic's happy, and then how she talks to Magic and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's...
My dad gets frustrated, and I'm like, Dad, you don't understand how much of a gift this is. It's Katie's way of communicating with us. She is, I don't know, she's like autistic in some way. She's like, she's very neurodivergent, extremely so, to the point where she would be nonverbal if she didn't have this fucking dog, because she doesn't know how to communicate on the level of, like, the vulnerability and intimacy of, like, communication. Like, she hasn't had that much of it, you know?
I do feel
so she's able to speak through the pug.
Yeah, but I do feel like we're making a lot of good progress, and it feels really good.
Oh, it's the most rewarding, best thing ever. And don't ever fuck with me when it comes to Katie, because I really do care about her more than most things.
Fuck with you? Me? Fuck with you?
Yeah, just don't ever. That's not we can't weaponize anything having to do with Katie for me, because it's just like the most tender thing in my whole life.
I don't think I would ever do that.
I'm going to take good care of Katie no matter what, you know?
I know.
Even if I'm like, might seem like a scumbag, asshole, drug addict.
You're saying,
know what I mean?
I know, we had one fight. I'm sorry.
I will get my shit together to be a good brother for her.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'll be my sister's keeper. I already am.
Yeah, totally.
That's why I'm here. It fills my life with such purpose. I have zero doubt or regret about the way we're living and where we're living, and just the timing of it all, and just living here and seeing what my parents have been doing for so long, and how isolating it is, and how desperate it is, and how you don't want to bother other people with it. You don't even want to bother your own son with saying, like, we're losing our fucking minds up here. Because Katie's very difficult to deal with, and also she was up all night having seizures, and also this and that. So when you live here and you're just a part of it, to me, it's somehow more calming.
Yeah, rather than feeling removed or like you're not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I felt a lot like that when we were living down in Brooklyn, especially towards the end. I'm like, I could feel that they needed me, but I'm like, I'm young. I should be doing life.
Yeah, and I think Katie's obviously going to be the biggest part of our world, like in our relationship.
Yeah, as long as she's here.
And I think it's kind of crazy that we like distracted ourselves with being an actual like it's a triangle relationship. Your mom always talks about, I'm in a when we were in throuple, she was like,
we have that too.
We have that too with Caitlin. It's always the three of us, you know.
We're always traveling as three and considering three and three personalities, and like somewhere in ours, we're having precognition that is our final form, and so we tested it out with some romantic partners.
Way too complicated
to distract ourselves from our eventual duty. But it's such an honor to see Katie and get to spend time with her, and I just think it's a shock that she's still here. It's crazy that Katie's still here, and not only that, she seems to be like thriving more than ever, and it's because of little things that we started to implement after an acid trip download I got in February 2018. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, a healthier eating.
Yeah, I said we got to overhaul everything about Katie, and it's got to start now, and we just started to, and it's just like everything has just been so much better. And then my parents got on the same thing. My dad had this mass in his lungs. That's all he could talk about for years. Oh, the mass. He always wants to be anxious. So, like, when there's nothing to be anxious about, he would just think about that. And I would always say, you don't have a mass. You don't have a mass. And if you need something in the 3D world to show you that, take massive doses of turkey tail every day. Do me that favor. All right, let's start taking this mullein leaf every day. Let's cut this out. Let's cut that out. Let's add this. Do these. Listen to me. Listen here, son. I want you to live. I need you to fucking live for a little longer for Katie's fucking sake, please. And he goes to the doctor, and there's no mass. And they just move on with their life like no big deal. Okay, what's the next thing? If Trump gets elected, wait, did I just hear that right? Dad had a mass in his lungs, and because of the behaviors we've gotten into around here, he doesn't anymore. Okay, this is what I mean. Like when in my life, when you see me, like, hey, we're gonna fucking celebrate our wins, because you see how it is. Everything just goes right back to anxiety and stress and negativity and all this stuff, and I need to trip mushrooms every now and then.
Yeah, no.
I really need to.
I think It's very valuable because I think we were able to recognize our own, like we've been big into honoring the trees, and our journey of wild magic definitely made us cross paths with a lot of people who tapped us into the power of trees. And I think what happened on the mushroom trip is, though, that we kind of recognized our own treeness, right?
That's part of what I went through when we were laying there. It's why I thought 3 hours went by. By the way, about 45 minutes had passed. So, like, I got up, like, okay, I'll start getting ready. And I was like, we took these mushrooms fucking an hour ago. What am I doing? I'm like, what am I talking about leaving? And then you're like, by the way, I'm having the time of my life up here. I'm like, we're staying. Don't worry, we'll stay up here. And we did. But yeah, that was one of the things I was recognizing while we were there. I was looking up at this tree and I was like, God, trees are the best. And we're really good about honoring them and hugging them and getting their, just fucking talking to them and asking them for shit all the time ever since we met this guy, Pinion Pete, in Crestone, Colorado. He just really turned us on to seeing the forest in a whole different way. And I think we both just we're on the same trip of like, we are trees. I'm a tree.
Well, because I it's no disrespect to the trees, but I just like, every time I go to the cemetery, I touch the trees and I sit with the trees. And this time I was like, I am a tree.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, what higher purpose? Yeah, to be more tree-like,
Yeah, and
steady, and leaving, and then dying. And then go, and shedding,
and having deep roots,
a mycelial network,
and helping other people breathe,
communicating, and addressing the needs of all the other trees, plant life, and animals around, carrying the deepest wisdom, carrying the deepest, standing tall, standing confident, providing, shade for us. For things to grow, to get away from the sun.
Totally.
They do so many miraculous things. And what this guy Pinion Pete taught us is like, he's like, you don't have to focus on healing the whole forest through each tree or organism individually. Go to the grandmother tree or the grandfather tree or whatever. That's the one. You find that one and you do it. And I was like, I need to be that of my family. I might not be the elder of the family, but I need to be more tree-like in my family. I need to be the tree of life and healing in my family. And throughout my roots and my mycelial network, send the healing vibrations out to the other people. And what's cool is I can recognize, because that morning we heard that my dad no longer had a mass, and I can recognize through Katie having way less seizures and being happy and communicative, and the way my dad's been and our relationship and so many things. I'm like, I am that. I need to keep being that. So I need to feed the tree, and I need to be good to myself. And that was part of the trip for sure.
Yeah, I always have a lot of ideas, about things I want to do or how I want to be, and like positive intentions. And sometimes I get in the place where I'm like, I'm not doing them right now. What am I? It's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But I was looking more into that, and we always drop off the second half of it, which is the road to heaven is paved with good action. So it's not about beating yourself up about having good intention. It's just realizing that isn't the road to heaven. The road to heaven is with the good actions,
Well, yeah. And we think we want to be at the top of a mountain, but what we really are craving is the feeling of progress towards the top. So really what that requires of you is not some crazy scheme to get to the top of the mountain. Just take one step.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think what I felt deeply during this mushroom trip is that the momentum of our life and our relationship is so good and pure or whatever that it doesn't even really take up space. It doesn't need to be examined.
Yeah, we both looked at each other and like, I don't think about you on these trips, and we're like, we don't think about each other.
In the most positive way. It was like the most romantic, like Halloween thing we could say to each other. Like, I'm not thinking about you. Like, it is the most romantic thing you could say. Is like, my love for you is so inherent and deep, and I exist in it. It would it would be like a fish trying to comment about water. It's like,
yeah, no, I
it
know
just
what you mean.
is, which then allows for all the other possibilities to come fucking have a go at your psyche while your defenses are down.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know what's happening, but I'm laying there like, well, first of all, we have that like first 45 minutes or an hour where I'm like, all right, we should head back. And you're so cute. You're like, fine, we will. But we both stood up and I was like, should we walk around a little bit? And we started walking around a cemetery that we know, it's huge. The cemetery's huge. And it's like, there's all kinds of little places you can go. And there's a lot of trees. And it's just, it's an amazing place. And I just felt lost right away. And the mushrooms were hitting me in waves, kind of like they were the time we took Soma with Robert Ryan, which if you want to hear our trip report about that, there's an episode called Death by Soma, which is one of our funniest episodes about a mushroom trip that went completely off the rails with Robert Ryan. But this was reminding me of that night because it was hitting me in waves. I was like, whew, okay, cool, I'm fine. The mushroom trip's over. Let's take a little walk. And then we're walking, and I'm like, it's hard to even describe. Just getting hit with like a wave of, it's just like it's bundled information that hits you like a fucking energy ball. And you're just kind of like paralyzed to it, and you're just like kind of like, so like we're walking around and I'm like dying like multiple times while we walked around to the point where I was like, I don't even know where the fuck we are. I don't know how we're gonna get back to our spot.
You played it pretty cool. I wasn't that worried about you until I touched your head and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we walked around for, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes or whatever, and like, you're having the time of your life. And every time we take mushrooms, I'm like, look at this girl, she's having the fucking time of her life, and I'm over here like sweating at the oldies like a fucking fool. We like got back to our place. I was like, feel my head, by the way. And it was just like sweat pouring off me. You're like, take off this layer. And I'm like, I'm
in
actually,
a t-shirt.
You're in a t-shirt and no shoes, you know. And I'm like, I'm freezing actually. Like I couldn't regulate my temperature. I was I was in the throes of a fucking deep trip. And so like just lots of just like, I don't know if you're just listening, I'm just sitting slouched over like just looking like I was fucking in a fentanyl stupor. But then I would dry off and I'd feel like $1,000,000. Like all of a sudden it would just like, the sweat would go away, my temperature would be regulated, and I'd feel like $1,000,000. And I'm like, whoa, God, that was crazy. And then another wave would come. And that went on for like 4 to 5 hours.
Well, you kept saying like, I don't even know what's going on, but I'm upgrading.
Yeah.
You're like, there's an upgrade happening, and it's not on an intellectual level.
Yeah. And it definitely wasn't. It was definitely on a heart level. It's on a way I want to relate level. But I can't even speak to it. The first time I took mushrooms, I could. I was like, I need to stop eating animals all the time and fucking pay attention to what I'm putting in my body and be closer to my family. And now I'm just getting like these fucking information packets.
It does feel like,
what is this?
But every time you take it, we're just like, oh, we have a mushroom deficiency.
Definitely felt that right away.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, man, this is like, it's the tough thing to do to get the moral courage to do. But man, this fucking crushes depression. And I think it does it by just bringing you in and through something. But look, I know this is a podcast and I wish I could speak to it. I wish I was like, here is in particular what the problem is, and here's what got solved or whatever. It's really not like that. It's really not like that. I just kind of, you experience oneness, and as you're coming back to separateness, you try not to cling too hard, and you hope that some of the things that were imparted on you in that oneness, some of those glimpses into your own Christ-like consciousness, that you can kind of use that to navigate this thing a little bit better.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I definitely appreciate this, the incredible space you hold, like by just being like my chill, sweet little baby.
You didn't even let me know how bad you were suffering.
I wasn't suffering though.
Or whatever.
And that's not because I've had trips where I've suffered. I've had those
You were
trips.
just
It was just more like
there's nothing I could do for you.
it was just like what do you want me to say? I'm dying and then I'm being reborn.
I was kind of going through the same thing, and I think we're just at this place where it's like we knew what we were there to do.
Yeah.
You know, part of us were like, damn, we need some twisted joker to join us on this adventure.
Thank God we didn't do that. Thank fucking God. Because everything about it like sounds fun and funny. Like, hey, who wants to go up and hang out in a cemetery all night on Halloween and fucking trip balls on mushrooms? Not some microdose shit. Trip balls. It sounds amazing. When we're doing it, I'm like, God, it fucking feels barely appropriate to be around you right now. This is crazy. I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
This is a completely overwhelming psychedelic experience, and I needed it so badly. God damn, you forget. With mushrooms in particular, because I'm on acid right now. I take acid all the time. I love that shit. But mushrooms, fuck, man. What it is it's taking you on a journey through ancient neural pathways that a lot of times just have not been in use for fucking generations. That's how it feels. It feels like I'm awakening my mystical roots that like go back to like fucking the pagans in Ireland and like my people, my OG people.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm hitting on, because I mean, look, it's still the same. They had the same bodies and technology I have. I just feel like I use this mushroom and it takes you on a journey through these ancient neural pathways that remind you of the scale of things, and remind you of your place in things, and remind you of your sacred and holy duties and having taken form. And
what's important.
What's important. And I think if you're living in alignment with those things, fucking great. If you're not, it might be a little bit of a rude awakening, but like it's either way, like you should do it. It's I don't know. It's like it doesn't matter where you do it. Like it so didn't matter that we were in the fucking cemetery. It really didn't. Like that was kind of just a funny thing to do on Halloween night, and to have an excuse to be outside and stay outside. But it didn't fucking matter where we were at all. We were gonna have the same trip no matter what. It's just what everything was leading to.
I'm grateful that we did it together, and I'm grateful it wasn't scary. I did get a little spooked by the screaming red fox, I will say.
The scream of the red fox?
The scream of the red fox.
Yeah, that got me too. I mean, do you want
me to play you the scream of the red fox?
Yeah.
You're just chilling there, and then something...
Yeah, I was dying in the hammock for the 9,000th time in a row, and Cass was like off exploring, and all of a sudden I heard this sound in the distance, and then Cass comes running back up. She's like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck was that? Here's what it sounds like. The scream of the red fox.
That was it.
It's scary.
It was a little scary. Another time I was walking on the grass where it got a little squishier, and I was like, I kind of felt like a hand could come up.
Ooh. I'm glad we didn't indulge those kind of... Yeah. I think, anyone listening might be asking themselves, why would you do this?
Or it's a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Reclaim cemeteries.
For sure. Like, I mean, it's such a great place to catch some spaciousness and privacy. And it just because our culture has an aversion to acknowledging death, there's these vast like acres of space.
With old trees.
They're like, amazing.
The reason I do it with peace in my heart is because I know that I'm not being disrespectful.
Oh, yeah. And we said that as part of our opening ceremony. We're like, we're not here to disrespect in any way. This is not us making fun of or making light of anything. We share this land with you. You know, you're no longer with us, but we share this land together.
For a second before we went up, I was like, could I be worried about a spirit clinging to me of some sort? And then I kind of got to the place where I'm like, these guys are so peaceful.
They are, but I also think like you would know. I mean, like, cause like, what does a spirit clinging to you look like? What does it feel like? You know, it sounds scary, but how does it manifest? Maybe a spirit clinging to you manifests in the way of just like you're like, I want to eat more sugar.
Yeah.
Or, who knows how it actually manifests with your behavior?
Yeah, I think of it as like paranoid thoughts, fear thoughts. Like if you're vulnerable, it kind of can be a cascade of paranoia.
Well, you brought up Elon Musk at one point, and it was I remember having to go into torping. And that was not like, oh, let me be cute here or whatever. It was literally it felt like you invoked the name of a demon. So I had to, torping. Even just now, I think I got rid of the Musk in here.
No, yeah, I
but
definitely...
you just got to just do, like, look, you just doing things like that every now and then, just some things you have in your back pocket to be like, oh yeah, just in case, get the fuck out of here. Just little ways of convincing yourself it's gonna be okay.
You turned off the Dead show, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was hitting me too hard.
Yeah, you're just like, okay.
We didn't.
You're like, is silence okay? I'm like, oh yeah, totally.
That was like that was yeah, I could probably see how far we made it into that show even before the mushroom was just like, shut the fuck up and listen. Really listen, not to the dead. Listen, just listen, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I just paused it, and it allowed me to go that much deeper.
Music, excuse me.
Bless you. Oh, bless the little angel.
Music tethers you to space and time, and I think sometimes that can be helpful, and sometimes it's not helpful.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think that's why, like, with some of our other exploration with other drugs, like, I'm not always, like, playing the dead. I'm like, let's listen to this fucking weird vaporwave mix over airport visuals from 1993. And it's 6 hours. Because what'll happen to me sometimes is, like what was happening on that mushroom trip is, like, you're listening to the dead and you're like, this is fucking awesome. Like, wow, listen to what Phil's doing. Phil's the best. Phil's fucking great. Phil just died. Fuck, man. What was that like? You're just like I'm just thinking about these guys, and I'm thinking about their amazing contribution and what would have Jerry said.
I'm listening to the lyrics.
I'm getting upset. Yeah, I'm going way deep on the lyrics and what would it have liked to been there to be there that night, and like just all this other stuff that I'm like maybe it's distracting me from whatever the hell I encountered when I turned it off, which is just listening. I feel like if you can listen when that's happening to you, and if you can not turn your fucking weird trip into your girlfriend's weird trip, and if you can figure out how to write your own ship, so to speak, instead of making it a goddamn ship of fools.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to write your own ship while you're tripping on that level, to me that feels like the weight training of psychedelia and what it's really there to do to benefit us in this life is to make, by comparison, things seem much easier.
Right.
Just much simpler. Just very simple. There's a choice at any given moment to be in integrity or not. The more you can remind yourself of that as you find your footing, I think the better your path will be.
Yeah.
We're all on one path, and we're only passing through. Yeah, really, just a beautiful night up there. We walked around, we saw some deer, we got scared a little bit by the scream of the red fox. You know, we bonded, and then we came home and just threw on some records, and that to me, it might be my favorite part of any drug. Is like hour 5 of the mushroom trip. Hour like 5 and 6 really before it wears off, where you're like, let's smoke some weed. And you pull out the weed and you throw on Van Morrison, Tupelo Honey on vinyl, and you're sitting across from your beautiful babe, and we just laughed our fucking ass off for like 4 more hours. Just like, can you fucking believe Tony Hinchcliffe? This fucking idiot. You know, like just having fun, you know, just having fun with my best babe. And just laughing about the things that make us laugh and being unabashed about it and appreciating the music. And I'm telling you stories about Van Morrison and
him stalking Bob Dylan.
Yeah, he really wanted to be friends with Bob Dylan so bad, so he moved to Woodstock, and he wrote that album while he was up there in Woodstock, and he would drive by Bob Dylan's house and say, I wonder what he's doing up there. I wonder where he is right now. And they did eventually become friends, and then the whole scene got beat by Woodstock, that festival, you know. Town got overwhelmed with hippies. But that was the sweetest. That was so sweet. That feels like what it's all about. That feels like the only thing I can compare it to is like going for like a 15-mile run. And then when you're done and you're like, whoa, I did that. Or getting out of the sauna and cold plunge, the feeling you have, just like, wow, whew, I did it. I went through. That was hard, but I got through it.
I was in such a good mood just because I thought I would be like a little baby bitch and cold all night. And the fact that I wasn't, I mean, I know it wasn't due to me. It was the weather. But I just was like, I crushed this.
You did so good, Cass. You were in your T-shirt and with no socks on a whole night. The whole fucking
After
night.
I had to put on thick socks, a hoodie, a vest, I had caught a chill, put on everything, and then derobed again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I didn't have the problem you had of regulation.
Yeah. And I hate it when it would come into my head. It would become like an obsessive, intrusive thought for a little bit of like, oh, am I cold? Am I hot? Wait, am I both? Is this bad? You know, like, and you're just like, stop.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Sometimes you just have like, you know, the funny thing is, to you, your optics of the whole thing, I probably just look like a dead body or like some fucking zen little, you know, just the fact that you couldn't know what I'm going through, and I'm telling myself to shut the fuck up so that I can regulate my own temperature and calm it down and get back to the breath, because like that's what it always was. It was like my temperature would get dysregulated. I'm like, oh, I'm freezing, but I'm sweating. What the fuck is going on?
I'd be like, are you remembering to breathe? And you're like, yep, it's all I'm doing.
It is. It's all I could do. All I could do was pop it into manual. And beyond, normally I just am just manual, like, but I was having to do the, which again made me very aware that if anyone else was there, how annoying it would be. I know you can put up with that. And like,
I liked it.
I like literally needed to, every out breath I needed to go,
I like it because it kind of reminds me of what we're doing here. Is we're just here to just let each other know it's going to be okay. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's like how you just rock a little baby.
Hours.
Little baby, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. We're here. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, we're walking to the cemetery. We're going.
And it's crazy because when you're in that condition, when you're in the state of like full manual everything. One leg goes in front of the other. He breathes in. The other leg moves forward. You know, when you're in full manual, it's hard to imagine that very soon there's going to be a part of the night where you're going to be like, light that fucking joint, throw that record on, turn it up, let's fucking groove. Like, it's hard to, every time I take magic mushrooms, I have the same thing where I'm like in the realm to where I'm like, I don't know if anything's ever going to be normal again. And then like an hour later, I'm the funniest person on earth. Or at least I think. I'm like, I've never been this funny.
You're pretty funny.
You know. Yeah, just one of those nights, a massive night. Just one of those massive nights of your life. And it just felt like the appropriate transition into the clocks are about to change. It's going to start to be a little bit darker. I'm going to have to start voluntarily making myself wake up early every day. And I'm going to have to, you know, it's kind of that pushing against nature time of year where you're like, all right, it's cold, but I still got to get out there. All right, I still got to spend time outside and get my vitamin D and get my exercise and go on hikes. But it's a little bit like the weather's not compelling you out there the way it has for the other 6 months. So I think going into it, just having cleared out the cobwebs a little bit, to use Halloween terminology. That's what it felt like we were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I couldn't speak to the specifics of it. I need to be a better person. It's like, yeah, we all need to be better people. We're all going to be better people.
I really wanted it to like tell me who to vote for, and it did, like, you know, or like, and what it did is it did. I made a decision by the end of the night, but it was just like the only way it did that. It didn't really care about it. Not that it didn't care.
It didn't care how it got you there, even if it had to show you some weird ass shit.
It was just more like the integrity thing. Like, do what's most aligned with who you are and what you believe.
Yeah.
You know, and I just got to the place of like, oh, I have to make a decision not out of fear, but out of love. Mm-hmm. And who do I want to vote for out of love? Mm-hmm. That being a candidate I have to write in on the ballot, but you know what I mean? Like, it's, that's...
You're talking about Joe Biden. That's who I'm voting for, right?
4 more years.
Look, for me, I'm like, if we're riding for Biden, we're going to stop riding for Biden now? He's the fucking president. He's only done 1 term. What are we doing?
Oh, my God.
I'm writing in Joe Biden.
Oh, my God.
Would you be upset?
No, I really wouldn't.
He does clean business. He runs a tight ship.
You do whatever you need to do.
He's you know, you think this guy's just wandering around confused, just eating ice cream. Meanwhile, he knows what's going on. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, I'm riding for Biden in this election.
Oh my God.
Yes. Cool. Well, if you want to hear part 2 of this, where we just fucking let it all hang out about politics in this election, that's on patreon.com/churchofchill.
Yes.
And we're about to record episode 200 of Church of Chill, the music show.
Yeah.
And we look forward to y'all joining us for that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
$2 a month. Come on, motherfuckers.
Come on.
Become a trustworthy homie.
Yeah.
Become a homie. Let's be homies.
Hell yeah.
Cool. All right, y'all. Peace, love, and magic.
Love you. Bye.